Hello, Umbra Gladius here. And just as I get done with uploading the Escape from Tarkov reaction video for the Act-Man, what does the Act-Man do? He releases another video. This time, it's Why is Starship Troopers so awesome? And it's been released about an hour ago. But literally, as soon as I find it funny how as soon as I finished uploading or in the process of uploading the previous Act-Man reaction video, this one comes out. So that's just good timing. So yeah, we're gonna be reacting to this now. Why is Starship Troopers so awesome? Honestly, I've only actually seen the first one, but from what I've seen of this first one, I have seen the first one. What am I talking about? Yeah, I really liked it, and yeah, the elements of fascism in that movie, yeah, I mean, it's overly blatant, but I still had a good time with it. Now, let's see why Starship Troopers was so awesome. And this is totally not because Helldivers 2 is dominating right now. No correlation.
What's up, everybody? This is the Fascist Man here. What? And today, I'm reviewing one of my favorite movies.
Not even 6 seconds in. And he just says the thing which I'm thinking of
all time, Starship Troopers.
Would you like to know more?
Yes, please.
Also,
especially.
This video has been a bitch to put together because of copyright. So if the audio and visuals are weird when I'm
Sweet
playing
Liberty.
clips from the movie,
No.
that's why. I'm trying to get around copyright.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm more excited now than I was when I first watched the co-ed shower scene.
That's it.
The recent explosion of
that.
Helldivers 2 has generated renewed interest in Starship Troopers. Today, most
people are comparing it to Starship Troopers, and you know,
film with amazing visuals and effects and a thought-provoking message. When it was
that's actually quite impressive how Helldivers 2 has essentially like increased the popularity of a movie that is at least, I'd want to say, actually, when did the first Starship Troopers come out? Was it 80s or 90s? Regardless, it's been a while. That's actually quite heartwarming to see like an old movie getting that much recognition, which wasn't really that well received when it first came out. Now getting the recognition it deserved back then, because of Helldivers 2 as well. Just like this timeline's pretty good, despite its faults.
Released to theaters in 1997, however,
1997, okay.
Bewildered critics and audiences alike. Although in hindsight, it's somewhat unbelievable that this obvious
over 20 years
could go over so many people's heads.
A murderer was captured this morning and tried today. Guilty.
Damn, as quick as that.
Execution tonight at 6. All net, all channels.
Now, I first saw this movie in my early teens because I played the StarCraft custom game for it and thought it was really fun. And when I watched it, I enjoyed this movie for what I thought it was, a big budget, dumb action movie about killing space bugs. And the great thing about Starship Troopers is you can watch it just for that, just for the surface level enjoyment. Starship Troopers is based on the book of the same name from Robert Heinlein. What's ironic is the director of the film, Paul Verhoeven, famously didn't read the entire novel and apparently misinterpreted much of it, the same way his film would later be misinterpreted.
That's what you call ironic.
Sadly, Starship Troopers underperformed at the box office. It got mixed reviews from critics. And to this day, the messages and themes of the movie are still hotly debated. Some interpret the film as glorifying militarism and fascism. Others say it fails to satirize these things properly. Regardless, I think it's time to throw my hat in the ring.
All right,
set the record straight and let you know what I think Starship Troopers is really about.
This is the final time, really.
It's so awesome.
All right, then.
The film begins with that iconic recruitment commercial.
I'm doing my part.
I'm doing my part.
They're doing their part.
And I'm doing my part.
The
yes, I am.
Music and happy faces makes it look like serving in the military. Wow, that's just the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, about that. But are you sure about that? Are you fucking sure about that? This is what they don't want you to see.
What's that? Join the mobile infantry and save the world? and I become a citizen? What a deal. Why aren't you doing your part, you bastard? These propaganda reels are one of the most memed and recognizable aspects of Starship Troopers.
I mean, yeah, because it's really good.
Important in understanding the film because they clue you in on what's really going on. So the settings.
Am I weird for thinking that's sort of like I'm doing my part and would you like to know more stuff? I think Starship Troopers peaked there. And the quote-unquote fight on Kondathu, the first like drop, you know, it's an ugly planet, a bug planet, that scene. I think it peaked in its first half. Second half is still good, but it's just like, man, after the I'm doing my part, would you like to know more? And it's an ugly planet, a bug planet, just like it's sort of like a first half phenomenal movie. Second half, yeah, it's pretty good. It's a pretty good movie. No, I mean, it's sort of like you really like one part, and you find the other part to be not bad by any stretch of the means, but just sort of like a tiny bit underwhelming.
Starship Troopers is basically veterans took control of the world and the government, and they rule it now. In order to become a citizen and have the rights that like you and I take for granted, you have to serve in the military. Otherwise you are a civilian and you don't get to vote and you can't reproduce and blah, 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 blah.
Damn,
now,
yeah. I didn't realize it was that harsh.
Enemy,
I know you can't vote. Oh,
but
okay. Can't reproduce. What the fuck?
Lack of information giving to us, the audience,
yeah, and you're thrown to the literal meat grinder
of the story. Now we get a glimpse of the bugs and their lethality literally through the lens of the cameraman on scene during the invasion.
POV, you're playing Helldivers 2 in its highest difficulty.
Johnny motherfucking Rico, a stud.
Rico,
pay attention, damn it.
You hear, Mr. Ratcheck? Pay attention. This is important.
Let's sum up. This year we explored the failure of democracy, how the social scientists brought our world to the brink of chaos.
The scene is doing a few things, showing you the romance between Carmen and Rico, while also lecturing you in the background on the failure of democracy, how violence is the supreme authority.
How ironic, given what Helldivers is now.
Political authority. You're using force. Force, my friends, is violence, the supreme authority from which all other authority is derived.
So in other words, violence means everything.
Problems.
Yep.
One thing I noticed about Starship
But violence is never the answer. Oh, don't worry. Violence is always the answer. Okay. I jest, but... Okay, you know what I'm trying to say.
Troopers is that it's actually pretty easy to believe all of the lessons, lectures, and propaganda you're being shown.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that guy's missing an arm. How more obvious can it get?
If you turn your brain off to the ethics of what is actually happening, then it's easy to believe what you're being told.
My mother thinks that violence never solves anything.
Really? I wonder what the
now.
Hiroshima would say about that. Naked force has resolved more issues throughout history than any other factor.
Mr. Red
Unfortunately, he's right.
Compelling
arguments
for violence solves everything by bringing up Hiroshima. Yeah, it did end the war, and
but it killed countless lives, mainly innocents. In fact, all innocents, if I think about it.
Suffering to base your entire society off of this idea that violence solves everything. So for the rest of this video, if you watch this movie on your own, just remember, ignore the ethics,
not.
Look at the results, and you can see how everyone gets brainwashed. Now, at the end of this lesson, Mr. Ratchet
you will
asks
join
Rico if he truly
the Starship Troopers. You will join the Helldivers. You will be thrust into the meat grinder.
I don't know.
So at this point, Rico is still himself. He's clearly more interested in Carmen and girls than he is in this idea of being a citizen and believing what the state is telling him to believe. Rico is not a brainwashed psycho.
Yeah, that was actually one of his earlier roles.
Now I want to talk about the cast
Before
of this
I met your
movie
mother,
and how
he
the
was in
society
this.
of the Federation is presented, because there is a meta aspect to it, which I really enjoy. If you look at Starship Troopers as a propaganda film that could be used as propaganda in the actual universe of the movie, then a lot of pieces click into place.
Yeah, it all makes sense, doesn't it?
Young people in this movie are
almost like it's trying to say a message or something.
Casper Van Dien, Neil Patrick Harris, Dina Myers. They're as objectively attractive as they can be. They all have perfect skin, perfect lighting,
I wonder
chiseled
why
jaws.
they chose those particular actors. I wonder why.
presentation and reality. It's presented
expectation,
like all these
reality.
attractive, amazing people are signing up for military service. In reality, all the adults who served in the military are horribly disfigured in some way.
Mobile
Yeah.
infantry made me the man I am today.
Like missing limbs, missing eyes, missing whatever
Rico
the fuck.
gets a glimpse of this right as he
Probably
is
one's missing a
deciding
dick,
to
but you know.
sign up, and he still does it, mostly because his, he's thinking with his dick for Carmen, which I totally
Yeah.
understand. That's Denise Richards. I get it, man.
Yeah, I mean,
But even when he's
it
staring
is
the
Denise
reality
Richards
of war
in the
the
90s,
face,
so you know.
he still decides it's worth it. The first third of this film is everyone wide-eyed, optimistic, planning their future. In the co-ed shower scene that I watch every morning before breakfast,
Yeah.
the characters talk about why they signed
is there
up,
another reason
how
why
they
you watch
can't
it?
live out their dreams unless they earn the privilege to through service.
I want to have babies. It's a lot easier to get a license if you serve, so.
What's that? You want kids? Go kill bugs.
Yeah, that's brutal when you think about it. It's sort of like, you want the right to reproduce? Yeah, sign up here. Yeah, go sign up for the military. Here's this rifle. You see that giant bug? Go kill it. And if you survive, congratulations, you can reproduce for humanity and make more of yourself so we can throw your children into the meat grinder. And their children's children. And their children's children. And their children's children. And yeah, have I even mentioned that Starship Troopers is pretty fucked up when you think about it?
The film does a great job at juxtaposing what serving in this Federation is actually like and what the Federation
Helldivers in its highest difficulty.
Like. The world and society of Starship Troopers is portrayed as a utopia with faster than light travel, massive fleets of gigantic ships.
I wonder why Helldivers 2 is doing so good. Almost like these elements are actually pretty cool.
Pick fights with chicks the same way they pick fights with dudes. They have a fucking orbital defense ring around Earth that shoots down meteors. This society is technologically
it's very over the top,
but it is
most like the most testosterone blooded thing I've seen.
And the need for violence and an enemy. The Federation still uses corporal punishment and execution by hanging.
Going off mission. That's a serious offense.
Yeah, I think they hang you for that.
In this society,
damn, they ain't no presidents.
Are captured, tried, and then executed in the same day, with the execution being forcibly shown on all channels at the same time.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up for the family.
Yeah, they better be watching this man die. Look at the results. Ignore
Appropriate
the
for all the
ethics.
family and the
got
family of the
murderer,
person.
And we killed him. Problem solved. Violence solves everything.
Violence never solves anything. Stab her, bitch!
What was probably very confusing about this movie is that Starship Troopers takes a cast of people that would have starred in like a high school romance coming of age story, and they throw
puts
them
them
on
into
this
that
dark, depressing planet infested with giant murderous bugs. It's a match made in heaven. And it's why the movie works so well. Like, if these people were more stereotypical Marines, it wouldn't have the same impact.
No,
so
it really
does
wouldn't.
a brilliant job of contrasting the ideal beauty that is presented, that is
and then
fake,
the beast,
with
which is
the
freaking
horror that is real.
Yeah.
I also want to highlight
Expectations
that
versus reality, the
music
movie.
and atmosphere of this movie, it really does sell you on the whole military is cool thing. You got fucking Clancy Brown. You have Mr. Krabs as the drill sergeant. Absolutely fantastic job.
Who needs a knife in a nuke fight anyway? All you gotta do is push a button.
Yeah. About that. Who needs a knife in a gunfight? Yeah.
Again, the presentation, the heroism that is portrayed is meant to trick you and the characters of the story that what you're doing is heroic, righteous. But over the course of the story, you grow to like a lot of the characters, as they go through boot camp, and you see the chemistry between Rico and Diz flourish, and everyone feels like
majority
a
of
real
them are
person.
gonna get
Ace
horribly
is one of my
murdered.
favorite characters. I love his line.
Everybody should have a friend like me.
Come to think of it, this movie has really well-written dialogue and a lot of good one-liners.
This is for you new people. I only have one rule.
What's that?
Everyone fights, no one quits. Don't do your job, I'll shoot you.
So at least for me,
so they're thinking of Imperial Guard tactics. All right.
Want them to succeed against
Next thing you know, be saying for the Emperor
to die. Everyone's so optimistic and happy, and then they go to invade Klendathu, and reality sets in. In this initial battle, all the characters we've been getting to know are all unceremoniously
they're all gonna die.
In the most
Well, not all of them, but
brutal ways.
Yeah, POV, you're playing Helldivers 2 and its highest difficulty. I know I've made that joke already, but it fits this scene in particular. Yep, all those characters you grown attached to in the first half. Yeah, yeah, that's what's gonna happen.
That being said, the action in Starship Troopers, 10 out of 10. I'm still shocked at how well these effects have aged. There's movies that
still
come out
really
now
good.
that don't look as good as this. Now, it makes sense because apparently half of the $100 million budget was spent on the effects, both practical and digital. But still, you know, it's a perfect combination of both fields because the bugs look, feel, and move like you'd think they would.
Like giant alien murder bugs move like act and feel like.
Of the ring, I think that was like a miniature model. Looks amazing. It really goes
a long way
when you build like real practical sets that feel lived in and authentic, as opposed to just relying on green screen.
Also, I'm pretty sure that the Halo ship design has a lot to it was inspired by Starship Troopers.
There's also a callous disregard for human life and firearm safety in the live fire exercise.
Gee, I wonder.
On an outpost
I wonder why.
In the direction everyone
I wonder why they chose
at.
that
Could be a
in
limitation
particular.
of the set and how much room they had to work with, but I think it's funnier that the society just cares that little about safety.
You're all
Rico
expendable.
inadvertently gets Breckenridge killed, and as a result is met with 10 lashings. He decides mobile infantry isn't for him because he signed up for Carmen and he's not even talking to her, that hoe. So as he's going down Washout Lane, something happens.
Hey, what's going on? War! We're going to war!
Buenos Aires,
Yep.
Rico's hometown,
We're going
was
in.
just destroyed by a bug meteorite. Now war is inevitable. Now hear me out. I'm
Sweet
no bug
liberty.
sympathizer.
No.
If you think this war is necessary and justified and with good reason, then
I'm not gonna get into that.
You have fallen for the same propaganda the main characters did. Now we're all free to interpret movies as we see them, and you're not necessarily wrong for thinking this or that. These are just my opinions, right? But I think the idea that the bugs attacked first is so ludicrous. And it's such an obvious false flag operation.
Or is that what they want you to think?
A really good test for
Because 9 times out of 10, humanity attacks first in these sort of things.
Just believing what they're told without question. I always thought this was made pretty clear. You know, it's why the movie points out the defense grid at the start. Chekhov's gun. I always thought the film presented this as like an obvious false flag operation.
Produce an unlimited supply of bug meteorites in the form of this asteroid belt.
Bug meteorites.
Bug meteorites.
Of an asteroid belt. It's a
they
regular
throw those things at
asteroid
Earth every now and then.
Also, it's pretty funny that like you have all these gigantic starships, orbital defense rings around entire planets. These things require scientifically gifted minds to create.
I know, like Neil Patrick Harris.
And yet nobody seems to point out or question how bugs managed to send a meteor across the entire Milky Way galaxy and hit their target dead on.
Hey, I wonder why. It sure is suspicious. How do they know to do that? It's not like humanity itself is goading itself onto this war and tricking other people to sign up. Oh my goodness, it all suddenly makes sense. Okay, yeah, so Starship Troopers isn't exactly the most subtle movie of all time, but yeah, you know, it what it's trying to say, it says it loud and proud.
To ensure the safety of our solar system, Klendathu must be eliminated.
So I've seen people saying like, no, the bugs attacked first. And then there's this article like Starship Troopers gets asteroid science all wrong. Yes, it does intentionally because it's a lie. The idea
it's
that
a
bugs
lie.
are
It's
shooting
all a
meteors
lie.
at faster than light speeds
like how?
Across 20,000 light
How would
years
they do
of the
that?
Milky
How would
Way
they do that?
galaxy,
How would they do that?
It's ludicrous, at least in my opinion. You know, and it's not explicitly stated,
especially because they right it's kind of those things don't look, no disrespect, but they don't look the most intelligent things. I mean, sure they act in a hive mind, but still, or just sort of like
their home,
act
like they would if you stuck your fist into an anthill. The ants would bite you, or if you went out into the forest and smacked the wasp nests. The wasps would attack you. Also in the movie, the Federation does not believe the bugs are intelligent. The initial attack and disaster on Klendathu is proof of that because they underestimated their enemy.
Man from the planet.
Bug batteries. According to military intelligence, it'll be random in life. This isn't random or light.
Yeah, somebody made a goddamn mistake.
Someone made a big goddamn
A big goddamn mistake. Okay,
so
that was close.
Simultaneously, the people of the Federation and the audience is being told two contradictory things.
Yeah, I know. It's sort of like they're hiding stuff from their own personnel.
Our planet and hit them with
Wonder who's responsible for those
precision
lies.
And the bugs are not intelligent, and we can easily conquer them.
Frankly, I find the idea of a bug that thinks offensive.
Now, none of this is meant to say that you are supposed to sympathize with the bugs.
Remember what I said earlier? Yeah, I take it back. I take it back.
But you are supposed to question why this war is even happening. Why are we
like,
going
why?
out looking for wasp nests?
I imagine it's something to do with like resources and stuff that they gather from other planets. Because most sci-fi stories like this, they do have like this sort of like humanity discovers a new resource. Oh, this resource is very useful. Let's get more and more and more and more. Oh, is that an alien? Ah! Yeah. That's pretty much what happens.
If we keep fucking with them, we're just gonna get stung again. You're supposed to ask questions. Why
and
are
then
we traveling to
what
the
happens?
other side of the galaxy to ensure our safety by waging war on a bug-infested planet when we have an orbital defense
same thing
range
of
capable
Helldivers
of
2 as
shooting
well.
down meteors, except that one meteorite that landed on Buenos Aires and destroyed it, and was then used as the justification for invading Klendathu. You know what I mean? So that's one of the reasons I love this movie. It's like a test for how easy it is to be brainwashed. As a viewer, like, I'm rooting
It's mind
for
control
Rico
propaganda.
and Ace and Carmen. I don't want any of these characters
Well, I mean,
to
it's
die. I want them to
blatantly
defeat
so,
the
but
bugs.
it's blatant for a reason.
To believe that this war is justified, you have to completely ignore the cost of human life that is paid fighting an enemy that doesn't need to be fought simply because the society.
All those people right there, majority of them are gonna die horribly. Have fun.
Requires war, violence, and an enemy in order to function, in order to justify the rules and guidelines of civilians versus citizens.
I just thought something. Sort of like, hey, that's a nice declaration for war, Senator. Am I backing it up with a source? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
Another thing I don't see many people talking about when it comes to Starship Troopers is how it's simultaneously one of the most badass and depressing films ever. At the start of the movie, Johnny Rico is questioning whether violence solves all problems, but at the end of it,
everyone calls him stupid for it.
Seeing all his friends and Diz, his new lover, despite seeing all his friends and all these people he cares about killed
your friends
in a
die.
meaningless war, he only becomes further entrenched in the belief that the bugs are the enemy, that they have to fight them. At the end of the movie,
So the
Johnny
brainwash
Rico
is
completely
complete.
brainwashed. He's an agent of the state. Johnny and Carmen are together again, even though they clearly wanted to be with other people who died. You know, Starship Troopers is deceptively depressing because in a normal movie, Johnny Rico might have turned into a rebel. He might have waged war against the state.
But no, he turned into the very thing he didn't want to do.
He might have questioned what was really happening. And
thus the mind control was complete.
But in Starship Troopers, love doesn't win.
Nope.
Violence does.
Violence
and it will
wins.
Continue to. They'll keep fighting. And they'll win.
Is this gonna be like a
Starship Troopers
I thought it was gonna be like
than the thing.
a segue into the Helldivers 2 again.
It's good. It's positive. The heroism portrayed in the propaganda and at the end of the movie is at direct odds with what actually occurs in the film.
Yeah, so
it's
like
deceptively depressing, and I tend to enjoy movies that don't go for the typical Disney and they all live happily ever
it's
after
very
type of
generic
ending.
cliche.
By the end, Johnny Rico has lost all sense of individuality. He's lost the love of his life, his teacher, his mentor, countless friends, and he's witnessed the horrors of this war firsthand. And he's even more brainwashed because of that.
Yeah, it just weakens him down and weakens him down until there's pretty much nothing left.
All of that, he's completely
that's bleak.
sold. He's completely sold on the idea that violence solves everything. I would say a movie like The Hunger Games.
There is a massive difference between Rico at the start of this movie and Rico at the end. And I love how this movie as well just sort of like slowly but surely breaks him down again, and then voila, brainwash complete.
Is kind of the opposite, where the protagonist takes up the goal of destroying the fascist regime. But in Starship Troopers,
I mentioned
the protagonist continues to fight for it.
I know, it's sort of like
pretty sad to watch Johnny come to the conclusion that violence.
That freaking Harvey Dent quote becomes more relevant by the day. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Violence and hatred of an enemy is more important than the love of a woman, you know? Starship Troopers does very little to try and humanize or make you sympathetic to the bugs. And that's kind of the point. They don't want you to feel
I'm pretty sure they didn't attack
because
first.
If you did, you might start questioning the war, blah, blah, blah. One of my favorite moments is,
I like
when
doing
they
that.
kill
So,
one of the bugs and it's sitting there and it zooms in on its eye. And you think, you know, maybe there's a moment of empathy, and then he just immediately starts blasting it and goo goes all over his face.
Ain't much to look at after you scrape them off your boot.
Like, damn. War is hell, folks.
It gets me every time. In conclusion, I think Starship Troopers is the perfect blend of smart and stupid. It's the perfect combination of substance and form. Whether or not you agree or disagree with my opinions
I agree. I agree quite a bit, actually.
Is not as important as the fact that we all continue to discuss this movie. Because
and probably will do till the death of the universe at this rate.
To analyze things on a deeper level, ask questions,
literally.
Which is what the characters in the movie should be doing but aren't. So continue
because they're enthralled in this fantasy of becoming a hero, and then when you actually get to Thundathu,
it's a good
the entire thing goes on its head.
Favorites. Love you, Starship Troopers. So thank you all for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Are you doing your part in liking this video? Well, you should be.
I'm doing my part.
Would you like to watch more, Actman? Then subscribe to the channel. All right, everyone, that's all I got for today. This is the Fascism Man. Signing out. Man.
Would you like to know more? Anyway, so yeah, that was why Starship Troopers is so awesome. Yeah, like I didn't plan to watch 2 Actman videos in a row, but then this one literally just came out an hour ago, so I feel like I kind of had to. Yeah, but anyway, yeah, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Ta-ra.